For over 2 millennia, Confucianism was not merely a philosophy. It became the spiritual backbone and the organizing principle of imperial China. It established a unified horizon of meaning by which every life understood its place in the world. In government, it prescribed hierarchy, placing sovereign and subject alike within an ordained moral order. In society, it established the examination system as the sole path to official status and advancement. In family life, it penetrated kinship, obligation, and selfhood, regulating life down to its most intimate rhythms. It promised a world that was internally coherent, hierarchically stable, and self-sufficient in meaning. Yet any comprehensive moral order, no matter how precise, must ultimately be measured against the irreducible reality of individual human existence. In Dream of the Red Chamber, Cao Zhueqin conducted a profound philosophical experiment. He placed fully conscious, self-aware individuals within the total structure of Confucian ethical order, observed what unfolded when irreducible human nature was confined within an absolute moral architecture. What emerges is not merely the fall of a great aristocratic lineage, but the record of a civilization's value system disintegrating at the very zenith of its splendor. When the ideal moral order confronts the ungovernable truth of human nature, what destiny follows? And it is here that Dream of the Red Chamber leads us beyond the collapse of a great clan, and towards something far more profound, the collapse of meaning itself, and the awakening of existential consciousness. Within the Jia household, the Confucian ideal took concrete form as a finely calibrated moral apparatus, designed to produce individuals fully conforming to its prescribed model of human perfection. It first turned marriage into an instrument of political survival. The so-called gold and jade union displaced the earlier promise of wood and stone, because the Zhou family's wealth could prolong the Jia clan's survival. At this moment, personal affection became the first and necessary sacrifice. It further shaped the clan into a mechanism of continuity, under the Confucian principle that the father constituted the governing authority of the son. Each individual became a fitted component within a larger moral machine. Jia Zheng's coercion of Bao Yu onto the path of official success was not a personal choice, but the continuation of an inherited structural obligation. Individual innate nature was not erased, but subordinated to prescribed roles within the moral order. Nowhere was this order more absolute than in its control over gender. Li Wan's youth withered beneath the moral monument of widow chastity. Zhu Beiokai embodied the ideal subject formed by Confucian virtue, the perfect internalization of restraint. Through the praise of virtue, the order achieved its most complete victory, not through force, but through the gentle enclosure of the soul itself. In this way, the stability of Confucian order came at a profound cost. The suppression of human spontaneity, genuine feeling, and creative expression. Centuries later, Max Weber would describe modern rationality as an iron cage, enclosing the human spirit within invisible constraints. Yet long before modernity, a more intricate cage had already taken form in China. This cage was woven from ritual, hierarchy, and moral obligation. In Weber's analysis, the modern individual recognizes the cage and struggles against it. But within the Jia household, most lived and died without ever perceiving its existence. They believed themselves to be living freely. In truth, even their breathing had already been governed by ritual. When human lives are confused within fixed moral molds, the system's fracture becomes inevitable. Bao Yu's denunciation of the parasites of rank and office was not mere youthful rebellion, but an instinctive rejection of the system's core values by a consciousness that remained whole. He became an existence the system could neither absorb nor dissolve, an irreducible anomaly within its moral order. When crisis arrived, the system's underlying hypocrisy was laid bare. The ideal of self-restraint and return to ritual collapsed entirely before the reality of financial ruin. What sustained the household was not virtue, but Wang Zefang's usury and the hidden circulation of power and money. To secure temporary survival, Tan Xian was sent into a distant marriage as an asset of political necessity. And marriage itself was stripped of moral meaning, reduced to a function of survival. When scandals such as Jia Shi's abuses of power emerged, the order responded not with justice, but with concealment. The imperative to conceal family disgrace overrode every virtue the order claimed to uphold. At this point, the rupture became unmistakable. The system's proclaimed virtues of benevolence, righteousness, propriety, and wisdom no longer aligned with the forces that actually sustained it: profit, power, technique, and control. What remained was not the collapse of the order itself, but its persistence as a hollow structure, still standing, yet no longer capable of generating meaning. When the system lost its coherence, what settled over the world of the Jia household was not chaos, but a civilizational dusk. Everyone knew they were moving toward the end. Each remained within their allotted space, awaiting it. Lin Dayu's repayment of tears is the destiny of one who sees too clearly. With a poet's lucidity, she recognized that the harmony the order promised was illusory. She was compelled to move toward extinction and full awareness. Bao Yu's final departure was the decision of one who refuses to remain within the Confucian order. He fulfilled the roles imposed upon him as son, husband, and examination candidate. Then he stepped outside them. His act was not escape, but the revocation of the very rules that sought to define him. Yet it was the silent majority who carried the most oppressive fate. Jia Zhang continued to perform the role of the stern father after its moral ground had eroded. Lady Wang invoked benevolence to conceal her own impotence. Jia Lian surrendered to desire. They were the inertial remnants of a halted order, exhausting themselves without any awareness of purpose. Here, individual and civilizational destiny converged into one. The fall of the Jia household marked the irreversible end of a structure that had once generated meaning for centuries. The lucid bore the pain of foresight. The awakened chose departure. The majority remained suspended in an unnamed bewilderment. What remained after the collapse was not ruin, but a condition in which inherited forms endured while their inner legitimacy had vanished. Yet from this dissolution, another possibility emerged. When the promises of the Confucian moral order proved void, the poetic mode, long confined to ornament, became a bearer of meaning. It could not alter destiny, but it could give destiny a name. It could not prevent ruin, but it could bear witness. On the wasteland left by the collapse of meaning, a residual light remained. When the world of meaning dissolved into emptiness, Dream of the Red Chamber allows another voice to rise from the ruins: poetry. Here, poetry is not ornament. It is the final form of critique after all other forms have failed. The first layer appears in eulogy for the daughter of the lotus. Bao Yu mourns a soul destroyed by ritual propriety in the most solemn diction, by elevating the elegy to its highest formal refinement. The text overturns the moral order that destroyed her. Through the severity of its form, the eulogy turns reverence into desecration. The second layer unfolds in the lament for flowers. The grief no longer concerns a single life. It becomes a lens through which the entire world is judged. For pure you came, and pure shall go, is not consolation but indictment. The falling of beauty exposes a world incapable of preserving what it claims to cherish. The lament transcends personal grief and becomes accusation. The third layer culminates in all good things must end. Here, the foundations of worldly value are exposed as illusory. In the final image of their graves are a mass of briars. Ambition, wealth, and reputation appear for what they are, hollow. What remains is a recognition of absurdity. Such dismantling recalls the revaluation of values in Nietzsche. Yet the parallel reveals a divergence. Nietzsche confronts nihilism after the death of God, and seeks to create new values from within the void. Dream of the Red Chamber moves differently. Its deconstruction does not aim at reconstruction. It reflects a different civilizational response. The recognition of illusion withdraws its authority. From this divergence emerge two civilizational postures toward nothingness. One seeks to rebuild value within nihilism. The other relinquishes the need to rebuild. From vindicating the individual, to accusing the shared condition of mortal existence, to dismantling the foundations of value itself, the poetic voice in Dream of the Red Chamber conducts a layered final judgment. It does not attempt to rebuild. Instead, upon the wasteland of collapsed values, it draws a severe boundary between the unyielding soul and the wasteland of value. Dream of the Red Chamber completes a spiritual expedition that begins within Confucian order and culminates in Poetic Judgment. It sets out from the ideal world constructed by ritual hierarchy, traces the individual's struggle within that order, witnesses the gradual failure of the system as a whole, and ultimately arrives at the wasteland, left after the collapse of traditional value. Yet its greatness lies not merely in recording this collapse. Its true force lies in the fact that at the moment of collapse, another voice rises, the highest aesthetic refinement and deepest emotional consciousness cultivated by that civilization turn back to scrutinize it. Through this process, the novel accomplishes a fundamental revaluation of values. It reveals a profound paradox. The most decisive critic of a civilization often emerges from the most refined core of its own culture. Chaos Wekin turns the aesthetic expression permeating that tradition back upon itself, thereby exposing its internal predicament. From this reversal emerges a compassion that survives the dismantling of glittering doctrines and hollow prescriptions. In this awareness, Dream of the Red Chamber becomes an unprecedented act of civilizational introspection. At the moment a culture senses the rhythm of its own historical cycle, it stands as testimony to how before the inevitability that all pursuits fade, human beings once wrote with such depth of feeling as to leave an enduring witness to existence itself. What remains is at once a farewell to Confucian moral order and a response to existential void. It affirms that when meaning dissolves and human beings are cast upon the wasteland of destiny, at least one choice remains, the stance one assumes before an existence without secure foundation. This is the Eastern articulation of existential extremity. It neither denies nothingness nor seeks to overcome it. It defines how one may stand before it.